At your best and you will get left. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept. If it don't involve money, then I don't accept.
And here we go. It's a Monday. It's Behind the Counter. We are live here on Instant Game TV. The beginning of another week that goes here at the Store and Channel. Gentlemen, how's it going? Mike, Dave, Steve joining us for a second week here on the set. How's everyone's weekend? How's everyone's week?
Busy. Busy and full and excited for it.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we had a decent weekend. We were it's one of those weeks where it was kind of slow at the beginning, and then it kind of worked into a busy weekend. And so, nothing wrong with that. And we got a lot of some NASCAR talk. Steve, we got some other pickleball talk, Call of Duty talk, customer talk, and some GTA stuff to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. And the next couple weeks is movies, and more movies. Between Godzilla and Justice League and Mortal Kombat,
Snyder Cut,
and the Mortal Kombat coming out. I don't know, gentlemen. Out of the three movies, Mortal Kombat is kind of enticing me the most. It's given a lot. I mean, I know right now on commercials it's all Godzilla. I mean, everywhere you look, it's Godzilla commercials, but there's been a lot of buzz about how the Mortal Kombat's going to do that.
They really show that commercial on normal TV too.
What? The
Mortal
Kombat
one.
I mean, I'm just talking like web chatter and stuff. I see a lot of Mortal Kombat.
I was going to
chatter.
say, just because Mike gets to get into your house at night while you're sleeping and go, just because I keep missing my window to do that does not mean.
But so a lot of movies. We got a lot of movies coming out. I think we'll do a lot of watch parties for those. That'll be exciting and stuff. But I'm going to start real quick with a typical morning here at Instant Games. And it started last week. Now, I walk in 11:02. Okay, I'm walking in, and I'm not coming around the corner, and there's a guy banging on the studio gate. And I'm just now remember, we have boxes blocking the gate, so this guy had to literally hop over the boxes to kind of like bang on the gate. And so I'm like, here it goes, one of those mornings. I go over, I turn everything on, open the gate up, and I'm not even sure that was the guy that walked in here. Another guy from the right side walked in, and he goes, "Yeah, I'm here for PlayStation 2." I'm just like, "Oh yeah, we got them, $119.99." I go, "We just got one inside." "Yeah, I'll take one of those." All right, good. He goes, "I'm gonna check some games over here. It works, right?" I go, "We're gonna test it before I buy it." Now I'm one of those guys where I'm just like, I'm not going to engage right away, like when someone's just kind of being rude. And just one of those, like, okay, I just let the comment go. And he goes, "Yeah, we're going to check some games out." I'm like, okay. So him and his wife, and I think his daughter and her child, all four of them go in there. Meanwhile, the guy with a bang on the gate walks in. And I go, "Need any help?" "No, I'm just looking around." And I'm just like, okay. And so then the phone rings. And I answer. Now remember, this is all like in the minute of me opening the gate. The phone rings. "Yeah, what time do you guys open? I've been calling all morning long." "Well, we open at 11. No, I've been calling like 6 times since 10 o'clock. Because I'm in Scotia now, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there. Because I drove by and wanted to stop when I was in the area." I'm like, "Well, we just opened 11. We open at 11.
We open with and close with the mall. It's not like we have magical hours.
And I'm just like, he goes, "Oh, okay." And click. I'm just like, okay, I guess that guy's need any more help. So meanwhile, the other guy I hear over here, the PlayStation 2 guy's looking at the games, and he's looking, and he goes, "Yeah, we'll get them, but we're going to make sure we test them all before we get them." But okay, that's the second time. Okay, so now he comes up. Now the other guy walks out, who was banging on the gate, not at all asked about anything else. Walks out. So now this guy comes up to the gate, or comes up to he goes, "Yeah, look at the PlayStation 2 and these games. He goes, I want to set up and test it." Well, I know that the PlayStation 2 came in, I was the one that it turned it in, so I know it was this. "No, it's not good. I got to test it." "I don't believe you. I want to test it." Because I bought another piece of shit PlayStation 2 from here about 3 weeks ago, and it didn't work. And now I clicked who the guy was. And I think we talked about it here on the stream. It was the guy that bought the PlayStation 2, came in the next day and jammed the disc tray in. And then said he had said it was like that. Okay, and I said, oh, and now I said, you know what? We should have just voided out this guy's return.
Yeah.
And just all together. And that PlayStation 2 is still sitting over here. And I said, you know what, sir? I go, we actually have the PlayStation 2 back here for you. To take back with the games that you purchased. And we don't have the store. It's right here. We don't have to, I go, no, we actually deemed that it wasn't a value return. You broke the system. I was enough where he said it 3 times and kind of insulted me the third time. I remember, we were kind of doing this guy a favor by, like, returning a system that he deliberately broke. And I think you two both said, Dan, you returned that? And I was just kind of like, and I said, you know what? This guy can have his system back. Because it was still sitting there. And with his games that he purchased and everything. I go, you know what, sir? We actually don't have your credit for you. We have a note with all the systems and the games that you purchased right here. And he got all mad, this and that. I go, I tell you what, I'll be a nice guy, and I'll give you 50% of the store credit back. And he still wasn't happy. Through a scene, all this and that. Meanwhile, another guy called. He goes, yeah, I bought a couple games here the other day. Now remember, we have not had any returns since what, Christmas? There's been like 0 return. Like, we have not had a lot of crazy.
The only returns we've had are the nutty people trying to throw things back over the counter.
Right. This guy goes, yeah, I bought 2 games here the other day. The 360 guy that bought a bunch of stuff. And I bought 2 games there, and they don't work. And I bought a Halo 1 and a Halo 2, and the controller doesn't work at all. I go, okay, yeah, just bring him in. Yeah, I'll bring him later today. Okay, thanks. Hang up with him. So now the guy, the PlayStation 2 guy, he's now so upset. He's called the sheriff office. Okay? So now the sheriff office shows up. Okay? And I explained it. I go, look, he bought a system. Meanwhile, he's down in the hallway before the sheriff gets here, screaming and yelling. You know what? I'm going to stick my ground in this one. Because you know what? I was giving this guy the world for a while. And he came in here disrespecting us.
Yeah.
After he knows what he did. And so the sheriff shows up. He's a nice guy. Comes in, he goes, so what's the deal here? He goes, I actually know that guy. We've had dishes with him in the mall before. I go, oh. I go, that's shocking. And I said, yeah, we bought a PlayStation 2, brought it back, and he knew he couldn't return it, so he broke it to try to return it to get his money back by saying it was defective. And we're just not going to give him his credit back. He has a system, we can still take it. And then on top of that, we've offered him now 50% back in store credit. So he's kind of, I don't know, he's kind of getting the deal here. Because really, the system still works. You can still use it. Has all the games and the controller that he bought, and now gets half of that all returned to store credit to buy something else. And half turns into a pretty good deal. Now, meanwhile, this guy has come way down. Like now, he's kind of like, So, long story short, the guy ended up going, and the cop left, and the guy bought it. But as the cop is leaving, another guy comes rolling in. Yeah, I bought this PlayStation 3 controller that doesn't work. I turned around. I literally turned around, looking at the back counter, and I put my eyes in and I go, is this all these returns literally happening within the 45 minutes of each other? Like, are we serious? Like, meanwhile, the cop is now looking. The cop was there, and another guy is returning another thing. And I go, look, we're at the PlayStation 3 controller right now. I go, but if you bring this back later in the week, we get him back in, I'll upgrade you to the wireless PlayStation 3 new. He had a brand new wire. And I knew it worked. It just didn't. And so, yeah, he came in the day or two. So then he left. So now this other guy gets the PlayStation 2 stuff. He goes. So now another guy comes walking in. Now it's a 360 guy. And he kind of, I don't remember, he was kind of like he was nice and kind of throw a sarcastic comment. That was nice and kind of, I couldn't get a read on him when he was here the first time.
Me and him were very cool. He must have just been embracing Dan at this point.
No.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, he just don't work. I go, oh, okay. He goes, yeah, Nick controller doesn't work at all either. I go, did you sync it up? He goes, and I quote, dude, I fucking had a 360 for years. I know how they work. I go, oh, okay. And I swear to God. Ready? And he goes, well, wait, what button did you hit? I go, the little button here. He goes, oh, I didn't know I had to hit that. I just turn, I go, and I'm just looking around. I'm just like, nope, that's the system you need. I go, that's it right there. And then he goes, oh, okay. And then he ended up buying more stuff, which was nice. He goes, but it's just like, I'm sitting there just going, what kind of morning is this? And by the way, this was 12:15. Okay? So
it has been exactly 60 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, it gets better. So now I leave, do it on Annie Ann's, get my soda. Okay, it's like 12:30, right? So I'm standing in at Annie Ann's. Now there was a guy that came in, nice guy, bought a GameCube, bought a bunch of games, spent a lot of money, but I had to explain a lot of stuff to him. He was very, like I explained, I asked a lot of questions, which is fine. But we all know sometimes, a sale ends up being an hour sale. Okay, so I'm in line. Okay, I'm at Annie and David Soda, and I had no idea he was coming. Then I turn, he's literally at the rope at Annie and he goes, "Hey, you're the Insane Games guy. You own the game store, right?" And I go, "Yep." And I said, and he goes, "Yeah, but I got a bunch of questions." And I had him just going, "Can I just get a soda in peace, please?" And he goes, "Are you the one working right now?" I go, "You go in the store." And I go, and even one, I go, "There's other people working in there," because I know he was just, "You go in there." And so he kind of walked down, I grab my soda, I come back, and I walked in. Yeah, I was yelling around, no one popped out. I go, "What do you need?" And I said, "That was another 30. It was just a long morning.
Was the guy you're talking about, was he the one who always wears the race jacket with all the sponsors all over it?
I don't think so. Possibility, but I don't think so.
Okay.
Maybe.
I do have a story for after you finish.
Well, that is my story. But we all have one of those crazy moments. And that was just one of those, just like,
I can't take it.
I was just like, I had to go sit down for like a half an hour now and just have to do absolutely nothing. It was just one of those, like, that many returns in the matter of an hour.
And that many BS returns.
Oh, yeah.
Not like, oh wow, like, sorry, we were shovelwaring stuff out the door. Like, all of that stuff was either broken by the people that were trying to return it or worked perfectly fine, but they had a 360 for Do you remember the guy that it was Saturday, sold the AV to the HDMI to AV converter to?
Yes.
Yeah, Jack.
Yes.
Did you come back?
Yes, he did. You know why?
Now, wait, hey, before you finish that story,
Yeah.
remember my number one rule. What's the number one rule?
If you did it to someone on TV, bags.
Whenever you go out of your way to help people, it always comes back. And what did I give this guy? Before I hear the whole story, what did I give him?
You gave him an AV cable.
I threw in a free $10 AV cable for this guy just because I gave it to him. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna give you this $10 AV cable just for free because we had the opposite reverters and I ordered them by mistake. We never sell them. I'm just like, you know what? Now finish the story.
So, I remember specifically that he did not exactly tell you what system he was trying to do that with. It turns out it was a PlayStation 3.
Oh, he said two.
Yep. Yes, he did, because if he had said PlayStation 3, as all three of us know, and Steve, you probably know this, they don't backwards convert because Sony makes the HDMI TVs and don't want you to backwards convert it. So it doesn't work.
Wait a minute, you can't do that backwards?
Nope. PlayStation 3 can't go backwards through conversion through the HDMI.
didn't know that.
It doesn't want you to do it. They make the new televisions. They want you to use the new ones.
Right.
So he came back on Sunday, 5 minutes before I closed the game. So, knowing that he came in, was very sociable, chatting about how much he liked the store, chatting about all these things, I offered him credit return. You know what he did instead? Spent the $20 in games, baby. He bought a bunch more games on top of that for his PlayStation 2 because I said, like, hey man, very sorry that converter didn't work out, but it was completed box and everything, so it's fine to sell. So
You ended up keeping it?
Yeah.
So you returned it and got credit back. God damn it, we didn't get rid of one of those conversions.
I was gonna say, you'll notice on the wall it's right back where it was.
Not too many people come in here looking for the reverse, which it is a possibility to need that. I mean, but not too many people come in here looking for the actual reverse. We sell, probably that's one of our number one top 10 items now in the store, is
The AV to
the AV to HDMI converter. Obviously, the new TV is the best sell. I mean, we sell it for a decent price, $24.99, and it's just one of the top items we sell in the store now. It's just, we always have to have them in, otherwise, like, and we run out of them. It's crazy how many people are looking for them. But, they're pretty handy when you need them. But I ordered the reverse ones by mistake. Don't.
Even the packaging on them, it's literally exactly the same, but the words are inversed. So if you're doing the mass orders like you did, like
So this one was, so the one I got backwards, now think about it, you need an HDMI to AV. That's like for like a What PlayStation 3 can't do, maybe what we need it
So
then.
360 can do it.
So 360 only has the HDMI
Well,
port.
they both have AV cable that you can plug into the system.
Yes.
They have both for the 360 and the PS.
No, it's in case you have a TV that doesn't have AV on it. No, wait, it doesn't have HDMI. So that's what you need it for. So that item is ideal for a customer who has a TV that doesn't have HDMI on it. It only has HDMI system, or only has. I mean, I guess could you put a PlayStation 4 or 360 or Xbox One to AV?
Yes, but
We should try that one.
You
I'd
are.
be curious.
You
on
know,
that.
very ugly,
It's
but
it's like it's like holding a paper towel tube and telling you, Mike or I to stick our head in it. It's just not.
I would be very curious to find out how we may do a little video and post it online. I'd like to see what it would look like to have a PlayStation 4, if it's even possible, or an Xbox One converted to an AV cable.
what that would look like.
What that would look like on a TV. I'm curious on that one. I've never thought about that.
Even better, you could probably plug in the Series X.
Probably blow it up.
Can't handle this.
The TV just explodes.
But, yeah, so that was one of my mornings this week. Crazy.
That sounds like
Was
you
that
had a good
Saturday?
one. That
No, that was like a weekday. I think it was like Thursday. It was what day was it? It might have been Thursday, the day I was here all day.
on my birthday.
Was that this week or last week? No, that was last week. That wasn't this week. You worked this Thursday. So it was one day this week. I don't remember what day it was. I think it was no.
I was gonna say this week was my birthday. The week before was yours.
I think it might have been Tuesday actually. I don't remember. It was one of the days. I said everything happens at once. I was like, whatever. And I was like, that's enough. But should I keep the story going with customers?
You have more.
Oh, I got another one. So, what do we do here? We buy, we sell, we trade. So, one of the things that we do is there's a lot of, so you have the customer that brings in stuff and trades them in. Then you have the customers that think they have the greatest collection in the world of video games that we get those everyone want. And then we have pop collectors. And I'm going to start by saying this. I have all the most respect for pop collectors, or anyone who collects anything. And I think we give a pretty goddamn good value for pop collections when people come in here. I don't see too many people walking out of here without getting a pop collection for under 50% of what the value is. Is that legitimate? I feel like we pay at least 50% for a collection.
Now, Dan, that's not what I hear on lock.
No, well,
That's
you
not
hear
what I
it.
hear on live, Dan.
We hear baseball fans. Thank you for the follow. Thank you for hopping into behind the counter. I don't feel like we disrespect the pop collectors at all with their collection as far as value goes. So
That's not what I hear on live, Dan.
and looking, and I was just random. I said to myself, we really need some pop figures, or maybe a collection or something. So I was on looking. This guy, I just messaged this guy. He was selling a collection. I go, how much for the whole thing? Because I'm not looking to buy one or two. He comes back, well, I have 498 pops. Okay. And he goes, it's valued at $6,000. Okay. And I said, okay, that's great. FYI, I would sell it for $6,000. Okay. I'm always clear with that. I go, just so you know, FYI, if it's worth $6,000, I would sell it for $6,000 because we sell things for pop price guide value in here. If we don't overprice it, we don't deeply price it for what it's worth based off the app that every pop collector pretty much, from what I can tell, uses for value of their collection.
Yeah, there's only two places to get pop values, and they only disagree on like one item every once in a while.
Right. So I come, he goes, okay, well, of course, the classic. I have someone in late class. The post has been on there for 8 weeks. And it's a classic. Well, I have someone in late class who's looking for it as well. Okay, yep. And I said, well, I'll tell you what. I'll be straightforward. I'll buy it for 50% of the value. $3,000, one check, come in and get it, and be done. And he replies back, oh, yeah, I think that's a great idea, that this and that. And then somehow he misunderstood what I said and thought I was giving him 2 checks for $3,000. Okay, but that wasn't what it was. And then he comes back and goes, I can't go that low. Because I can't go any lower than 5,200. So I'm going to spend 5,200. I'm going to give this. So I don't understand what this guy was looking at here. I'm going to give him 5,200 to then take the risk to sell them for 6,000 and we make it 800. And we all know, like, we don't just put the pop figures on the floor and they're gone in like a week. Like, those pop figures will probably be here 6 to 8 months. Like, it's just not.
And let me guess, he had a bunch of Star Wars pops.
No, it was actually decent. A lot of Marvel, a lot of Venom, a lot of do you remember some of the other ones?
I didn't really get to
I didn't. I'm a numbers guy, so I don't really even look at what's in there. Like, I don't care. I go price per pop. Here's the number of pops you have. Here's what the value is. I have no idea what this guy even has. Like, it could be garbage. I look at the quantity of pops. 498 stocks us up pretty well in there, and at basically whatever I did the math. Like, he was getting like $6.4 per pop. Not bad, considering that a lot of pops are probably under $6 in value. And so then he comes back. And I reply back, yeah, it's not going to work. And then I left it at that. And then he comes back and goes, well, the guy in Lake Placid is going to buy 280 of them, but I can put the rest together and sell you from that. I want to say to myself, I just asked this guy, I would have bought this guy's entire collection, and he's trying to give all the comments to one guy, and then wants to sell the rest. Like, I could have bought your entire collection for you, so you don't have to travel to Lake Placid. You don't have to, like, much easier of a situation. And now he's messaging me like 4 times. With here, and I'm just not replying. It's just like, I offered to buy a collection for you. If you don't want to sell it, don't sell it. But it's just like, what world can you go and get your whole value for a collection? That's like you selling your NASCAR cars. Your cars are worth $10,000. You think everyone's gonna buy them for $10,000? No, they're gonna buy them.
There's actually only one way, and we all know that one way to get your entire value in your collection. And that's to risk it at auction.
Yeah.
Really. And not eBay auction. Like, pay a premium fee to bring it up to a collector's auction and hope to God that those numbers go over what the starting bid is. Like, that's it, people.
It's just one of those situations where it's just like, I don't understand. I mean, maybe I would have given him 4. I mean, maybe I'll give you 60% of the value, but it's just like, here I am a guy that's willing to buy your whole collection, and you shun me to the other side to go to another guy who's only buying 200 of your pops. I'm just like,
and you're flat out. You're not.
You gotta lose a lot of money on that.
You're not bothering. Like, you're giving a singular payment. Here it is, and it's done.
I just don't get it. It's just
So
like,
he says that like you didn't buy them all for like $12.99 each.
right. He's trying to make up, which I get it. I mean, but it's just like, I don't know what it is. And I have the utmost respect for first off, pop collectors, not to mention anyone who collects anything.
And I mean, look at our set pieces.
Yeah.
We have done the
I don't know if you
hunts.
see those up there.
We have been in lines for things. We have woken up at 3 a.m. to jump in line to get some of these collector's items. We know the struggle, but bro.
It was just like, there comes a part where you're selling something of value, and it's like you obviously want out, because you're selling them. And it's like,
And you're selling all of them.
right. And by the way, this guy is getting a check, and let's look at the amount for 3 or 4, whatever the amount for vinyl pop figures. I mean, at one point, it's just like he's trying to get out on top, and you can't. It's just one of those things. Where it's just like we're looking at, like, I don't know too many people who want to buy a collection for $6,000 and then just have a collection at $6,000. People are buying it, obviously. Not only that, but people are buying them to. And again, I don't know too many people who are like, I'm going to buy your collection just to collect it. Like, they're buying them to resell them. That's like that's what we do. That's what anyone else does. I mean, I don't know.
If they wanted their collection, they'd buy like 1, 2, 3,
Right.
maybe even 10 of them. Like that.
And this guy then, if he wants to sell them all, has to sell them all separately on his own. Like, I'm only going to wipe the whole thing out and then buy them for a pretty good amount. I mean, if I was to go to the higher number, that probably would have been close to $730, $740 a pop. That's pretty good a pop. I don't know, but it is what it is. Let's move on. We got a lot of other things to talk about. What else we got? Dave, you're in here the other day doing some Mario Kart on Weekend Wednesday.
So I bought this for with my fantasy football losings. I bought this, and for $100, the set I showed it on the Weekend Wednesday. Definitely check out the VOD. But It was cool as shit. And you make your own tracks. And so I literally made a track around this whole set. At one point, opened the gate, went out into the mall, went around the store, and we were talking about the camera on this.
Camera's pretty well.
Like-
I'm not gonna lie.
Like this camera gives some combat to not necessarily this iPhone camera, but like phone cameras. Like
Today it's in some pretty serious motion and it stays pretty still. So
There was a time where I tuned in and Dave was out in the mall riding around in the dark. It was actually pretty funny.
that's where when I tuned in, I just saw his legs walking out the house. Like, oh, where is he going?
I wanted to see how far it can go. The answer is with the switch standing right there behind you guys watching the camera. It can go all the way out past the two kiosks past the store. Then the video totally cuts out and the car freaks. And by the way, when the car connects, it's more like going, oh no! So
that's some good shit right there. I like to, they're expensive. I like to get a couple of them and kind of do some kind of Grand Prix series in here or
Jumps
something.
and tunnels.
So we did learn it can go over the cables. It can go over the taped segment. It can't go over the cables loose. And when it gets stuck. Because the bottom of this thing, flat. So once those wheels aren't touching, you're done. Like, I lost one of the races entirely to that bastard Lenny. And by the way, all the baddies, it's not like, so in Mario Kart, when you're facing Toad, Peach, and that asswipe Yoshi, like, it's all the Bowser's kids that he doesn't give a crap about. You're basically babysitting them for him during the races. And you got them being like, you're not going to hear what I'm saying, man! So it's even worse to lose to them.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. I like to do more of that. Did you go into the store at all?
I tried to, but because of the wall for the Weekend Wednesday set, the reader cannot get through it. However, if we just plug a larger HDMI cable onto that and put the switch system out there, I have a feeling.
So that's what I was thinking before, right in the middle. You could definitely get a lamp all the way around.
Oh my god! To be able to go out into the mall, around into the store.
No, I like to do like a fun stream where we try to maybe get like, I don't know how many was the matches you can have on there, but like 3 or 4 of them, and try to get us all in here doing a race or something. That'd be pretty neat. OC5 has been jumping into Grand Theft Auto the last week or so. So he's been doing a lot of the role playing for Grand Theft Auto. But
Yeah.
it's also in the news for what? What were you talking about earlier when you walked in here?
Then first I'll say OC5. I popped into his stream and was watching him play a little bit. It was pretty cool. He was robbing this house and he escaped once and he was surveying the situation. And there was cops and then he went back in to try to complete the job and there was just cops standing in this house and they shot him, which I think is pretty serious protocol in this GTA RP. And he just ran out of the building bleeding and he jumped on his bike and like he had it set up to where he could just take off and he jumped right into the air and just escaped right away. So that was cool from OC5. But what I was gonna say was that first of all I'm surprised how much popularity it's getting again, but I guess with streamers all doing it and whatnot, they can do a lot of different characters and stuff.
Yeah, keep talking about it for a minute. Guys,
Is it
I'll find out. Just keep
a
talking.
good old friend for some Xbox thing?
Oh, yeah, baby.
But the one guy I watch is basically, his name is Moon Moon. He's like an older guy. He has lots of bald jokes. That's my kind of stuff with the bald jokes. But him and XQC ended up getting in a little spat with it because XQC joined and was, I guess, goofing off and got arrested. And Moon Moon role plays as a cop, so he was pretty much front and center for this, for arresting him. So they were taking him to the station, and I guess pretty much everything was going normal. I haven't seen too much about it, but XQC started getting mad because he thought people were stalling to try to get exposure to his views. And and then he started to like break character, which is like a huge no-no in the role-playing community right there.
Did you hear the other thing that he did?
And yeah, so after that character, I was like, after he did that, once they got him, I think he glitched a gun into his hands. I don't know how he did it. And he shot my boy Moon Moon in the head, and I think a couple other cops. And then I think he was gunned down. I don't know where it went from there, but XQC ended up getting banned, and he was like messaging other streamers like 5 in the morning, complaining about the viewage thing again. So a bunch of people are mad at him.
Mike, what's XQC originally famous for doing?
Being toxic and Overwatch. That's what I was saying. He's just a known toxic man. So.
He was super good at Overwatch and got banned. Oda and I have made fun of him a lot on Dirty Glasses, and I revel in getting to make fun of this dickhead. Because you make money playing professional video games, and you get pinched not for being toxic, but for selling Smurf accounts. Bro, you're getting paid to play video games!
But isn't it enough?
There are so many other ways within your contract to make money. Sorry to distract from your story.
I like this. I
But
know it's hitting that.
Because every time I have to like hear someone complaining about Overwatch and the new things, Overwatch is dead, says XQC. That man hasn't played Overwatch in over 10 years now at this point. Like, Papa Jeff probably bans his accounts every time he's on. Jeff Devil's probably sitting there going, nope.
To me, it
God.
seems like he's got most of what probably Ninja's viewers was since Ninja left Twitch, which is pretty
I bet he did, because he, again, great game. Great at what he
The
plays,
skills are there.
when he chooses to play it, but he pulls way too many things like this. He got banned from playing chess on Twitch for a little while.
Why do you get banned for playing chess?
Because he was being extremely toxic then to players that didn't necessarily have the viewership and things like that. So very similar thing to what he was doing during GTA. And
It's just like super egotistical to do that. Because he was playing in a server with a bunch of streamers that have like high viewage accounts, and then he's just I've watched like a good amount of the streams from this one dude role playing the guy. The shit just takes forever because people are just doing their characters or
Yeah.
whatever. So I doubt anyone was intentionally milking it. If anything, they probably thought it was good content. Like flipped the switch on, and he's probably like, "Whoa."
it's real life.
Yeah.
Like you can't just cut into radio calls and be like, "Oh, processing a perp." Like you have to wait. Like,
Yeah.
what a crybaby! And then especially to go so far as to complain about it, like that, like that's unforgivable. Like you're role playing, get over it. And then to glitch and kill those role playing people's characters in a situation that shouldn't happen in the game physics. Like it's like Dan suddenly appearing with a minigun. Like it's just not within feasible reality of him to turn up right there, right then. Like it's not gonna happen. Bullshit. I love hating on that guy. One of my favorite people to see the word banned for. Just
He got slapped with some. He came out and he apologized, and it didn't really seem hard, but he's just like, "Oh yeah, what I did was absolute trash or something." He's like, "I'm a trash man."
the same apology he does every time he gets banned. We're sorry.
After nothing, I'm going to do it again.
So
I guess it's his second ban from the GTA server. I don't know what he did the first time, but
do you want me to look?
see if it's anything good.
XQC ban. And it's like all the articles are gets banned second time.
Saying it's a building thing, pretty soon he might not be able to play at all. All in all, it just builds up the publicity for everybody, so I guess it's not too bad. I guess he was messaging the streamers personally, some messed up shit. That's why they were upset.
I'm back.
Take care of business.
Of course, they traded.
So the first time he literally just bailed on the role play. Like literally on a Grand Theft Auto role playing server for nothing else but, and bailed on getting arrested because he's a big celebrity.
And he was, I think he was running people over with his car. Do you remember that? Which I guess you're not allowed to
Whoa. So wait, so there's rules in this that you have to follow?
Everything is like a super serious protocol, basically.
It's a Grand Theft Auto server.
Yes.
Right?
It's a specific server where the rules are. It's just like real life. You commit a felony, you're going to be pursued, and then due process takes place. And
You're
all
a guy, not you in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you make a character and then you are pretty much.
So what's stopping anyone from just going in? Like, is there like a commitment on a
So
real
you have
level?
to, no, it's not an open server. Like you have to apply, get in. Like it's not like the open servers where they're suddenly like, nope, this town it's real role playing.
So it's like that police academy thing that like OC was doing.
Yes, that's exactly it.
Exactly
Like,
it. But there's obviously all different sides of what you can do and stuff. It's not all cops. And I think that's what most people end up trying to strive to do in the end is be a cop.
So you get one guy who's like a billionaire in the game and owns like all the buildings.
Yeah, I guess running actual businesses is supposed to be super in depth and stuff.
we actually on Nerd Glasses we talked about a dude who was running a burger joint and had to quit because the stress from the role play was getting so much that real life was getting affected. Because like imagine that like your restaurant in Grand Theft Auto's No Pixel 3.0 server is so popular that when you start streaming, people are like, I'm gonna go to his restaurant, and like you have to create shifts for people to show up on certain days, certain times to work the counter and things like that. Like,
And you get no money out of this?
No, that you get in-game money.
So what does that do?
That's how you
So-
play.
well,
If you want to get stuff, you have to
it's
get your
it's
job.
the way you build an online persona, a la dating NASCAR, bro dating, things like that. Like as exclamation point Steve is an online persona.
I could be Stan Devlin.
Exactly.
And that's how it starts. You make a name, and then let's say Stan Devlin is a very short, angry, bald man. And
I don't know where you got short from.
I mean, it's
And what
role
does
play.
Stan Devlin do? What's his Grand Theft Auto?
To say you could be a race car driver.
If I had to get into this game
Sounds
with a
as if
vision,
Steve's on
I
the
would
track.
want to own. I would want if I was getting into this game, and who I wanted to be. I would want to be a guy who owned all the city skylines.
So
I'm not sure.
you can do real estate.
You can.
I would
You
own
can do-
towers.
Yeah, you
There's
can do real
airport.
estate.
Yeah.
What
Oh, no,
would
you
you
said
do?
airport. Probably cop or criminal.
Actually, can I change mine?
What?
Like, I want to be like the boss of a mob in
That'd be
the
pretty
city. Mob boss.
If I was
Mob
playing-
boss. Stan Devlin.
So if I'm playing GTA, I want something to do with combat and driving and stuff like that. Some people like go and they work like at a fast food restaurant to earn cash. Like they have to go up to the table and be like, "Hi, welcome to the blah blah blah." The one I was watching, they had a restaurant named The Cock, and it was a chicken place.
Steve, what would you do?
I'll pass on to Jay for right now, so I can't think of anything.
I mean, are you hiring for your?
You want to be a
I'd probably be a criminal.
You want to be a captain
I mean, I'll take an
Captain
advancement. I was
of
just
the
gonna be.
Devlin crew?
I was just gonna be the guy that breaks the window and runs the wet, but I will gladly.
Or concierge, or what do they call it? What was the second guy in charge?
Consigliore.
Yeah.
I think they do have trees and stuff like that.
They
I don't
do.
know too much about the criminal side. I know a lot about the cop side.
They have. It's Second Life, literally in Grand Theft Auto.
So what would you do? Send out a hit on someone in the
Yes.
game? And
Yes, absolutely.
This guy over here. No. So what happens? Okay, well, there's another question. What happens if you're in that world and your guy dies?
You don't die. You lay down until. Then this is a whole nother part of role playing. People that play a hospital, ambulance people come and they come pick you up and they put you in the ambulance and they drive you to the hospital. And I think you have to pay or they do whatever. I saw one dude say he broke his legs and they're like, all right, we fixed your legs and now you have to walk slow for a while. We gave you leg braces or something.
So another person's role is he's a doctor?
Yeah, and there's some people that only drive the ambulances around. And they pick up people that
So
die.
what's the point? So if I send out, let's say I'm a mob boss, that's even possible to be a mob boss in that. And let's say you put out a hit on somebody, and that person takes them out, they're just sort of alive, they can never die.
I don't think it goes that far. You kill
It should go that far. If I
Depends.
remember wrong, you should get
So-
involved with the Devlin crew. Or the Devlin mob.
It
Stan
would
Devlin will
depend-
take no prisoners.
I guess it would depend if the two role players know each other and they want to put that at stake. Because if you could role play that, yeah, you actually killed me in that, then they would never have to play him again. But
We're in the business
they
of
would have to
selling
have some sort of agreement. To do that
counterfeit
properly.
Blu-rays.
So what it is they literally either wait till you get picked up by the paramedics, or the other response is you can call a friend and have them drive you to
Did someone walk in the way? Did someone walk in the way?
Mike, they shot me. They shot me in the head. Can you please drive me to the clinic?
So someone, let's say you get shot or get run over in the middle of the street, a pedestrian can't come over and help you?
If it's a person that's role playing, if it's like an actual player, then yeah, they can call the ambulance and stuff, or maybe bring
And
you.
where do you find these servers to do these type of role playing?
That is a good question. Some do, like
Search
Jay
'em up.
said, some are invites only, and then some are public.
Search him up.
OC5 has access to one
Yeah.
if you ever wanted.
We could probably ruin his reputation by joining in. And
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, so, well, I'm trying to think what type of person gets attracted. I'm guessing it's someone who can't fulfill their real dreams in real life.
Wow.
No, let me rephrase it. No. Like, I'm talking like if you want to be a cop. Okay, let's say if you always want to be a cop. In real life, because you never could.
That wording was
Then
very
that-
cruel.
then that's not what I mean.
You're
That's not what I mean.
correction. You're correct. You stuck the landing on the correction.
What I'm saying is you want to own Skyline City or buildings.
It's
Yeah,
the
I mean,
stuff that's unrealistic to do. in real
right,
life.
and that's what I'm trying.
That's
what
why
I'm
I
trying
would
to
play.
say.
it. Some people just want to.
Like I would love to. I've always said I would love to be a cop.
No.
So it looks like in some cases the servers have prearranged rules where if you're dead, you're dead. But like if you're like the chief of police and some rando comes over and shoots you, there's rules about like if you're actually dead or if you're succeeded or how many times you get iced by people until you have to re-roll a new character.
I mean, if you die, then that person who killed that person is now a wanted man.
Exactly.
That's where the felonies come in.
So I remember watching when OC5 was doing it that someone witnessed a crime and either OC5 was assisting or just taking testimony of the person. But like the person didn't get the person's name tag, but they got their description, and then he had to go around and ask players in the area if they had seen this person.
Yeah.
Like real life.
I guess that's what I'm trying to say. If you couldn't do that, that's a great way of playing the game. That phone's really like 9 times.
Someone's being a troll.
No, I think it's different. I've been hearing that there are different things calling out. Like that many people are calling, but we're on here trying to
No,
do
it's
the show.
because we're alive right now and they want to.
One was given a name, one's given a wireless caller. It's different people calling.
Make sure they click like.
But yeah, I would like to do more research on that. I know, but I'm sure it's a long process. You just don't go in and start owning Skyline
No.
City.
Oh,
No,
no.
you,
I mean,
you
there's some.
probably start off flipping burgers until you made enough money to buy a smaller property, and then work your way up from there.
If that's even possible to do.
Yeah, like boots at first.
It's possible.
That's what leads people to the ways.
I think if I had to play the game, I don't think Mob Boss is probably a role in that game. But I would certainly love to do the cop.
There's definitely organizations and gangs and stuff.
I said that for the longest time I wanted to do the cop version of it.
I didn't watch a crazy amount of OC5, but it says he's part of some family or something. So
He's
it's
what?
It's a mob or something that says the Ash family is title is what it was normally.
I don't think you realize just how deep a lot of these.
I don't
stories go.
doubt it. It's funny how you never really like you never see or hear about it. Like there's that community probably has 20,000 people part of it or something. It's probably crazy. I mean, think of it. You gotta have someone who's driving the ambulance. There's a lot of people involved in that. I mean,
And then you get there, and there's doctors that work there, and there's someone that takes the X-ray for you.
so if you're a guy working a burger joint, are you actually taking a guy there and working the burgers?
Yep. No.
Like, are you actually flipping them? Or you just go in there and you wait, you go up your time, you work for 3 hours, you come out like, so you actually do the shift?
Yeah, you do the shift, and you move around the kitchen, and what the game has programmed as operable, you operate. But obviously, like the things that are like, so for example, like the fryers. You have to stand in front of the fryer for X amount of time to say, like, I have made fries.
Right.
It's just like that's a look Sim City. It's just like that where, like
The Sims.
yeah. Well, like SimCity specifically, just because there was no, like, in The Sims, like, you watch someone cook eggs and they light it on fire and they die. Like,
But I've
SimCity
always
just
said,
clicked on-
here's another thing. It may come off as mean, I guess, but I've always said this. I love The Sims. Play The Sims all the time. I love the Sim game in general. But one could argue, if you're spending all that much time playing life, you just go out and, like, you know what I mean? Like, you actually, people like you, like the guy was saying, he was so stressed with doing running burger joints. It's like, you're
It
not
starts
really,
out fun, but then once you get locked into it,
in those games, you can very easily get locked into. When I was younger, I used to play The Sims all the time. And Tom would always come in and go, you're there playing life, and go, and it's just like, whatever, I like playing the game. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Good old Tom Troll.
You would troll all the time when I played The Sims.
That's a very Dan game though, because you get to like build. And
Oh yeah, well, I would make by
There's
far
some
the
nice
most
time. It's not just playing life.
You know what we need to do, Mike? We need to get a D&D game and have Dan play, so we can kind of get that role play
And
experience.
did you understand what that means when someone's playing a character like that? I think you're still a little confused about what people are doing.
What do you mean?
Like it's straight up like
So you join the server,
yeah.
okay? Your guy hits the map for the first time.
Mm.
So let's say game starts. You're just on the map. You're just sitting in the middle of the road. You gotta go do what you want to do. You gotta get a job to make money, okay? You maybe join a crew, get some money on the side for doing something, buy a house. I don't know if you buy houses or not. And then you gotta find it. The way I can tell is it's about making money in the game. Unless you run to a police station and say, I want to join the academy, which you probably can at the fire station or whatever, which I guess you get paid for all those.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure. I mean, I'm guessing like when OC does the police version, now there's some servers that are only just police related. They don't care about what your activities are outside of that.
Yeah.
But let's say in the one where it's everything, your whole life counts, if you go to the police station, I gotta imagine you make money, which then is your whole other part of the life, which is buying a house and doing this and that. I could be a corrupt cop. A cop that also does stuff on the side.
So now you're kind of getting it.
I wonder if you can play that role.
Exactly. You're playing a character.
No. I would have a tough choices. I would almost want to be the game in there. I love being a mob boss. I love being a police officer. I wouldn't mind being a bounty hunter. Okay. And I want a black SUV. I want a big black SUV.
Dan, why couldn't you do all three?
Maybe you could.
Why couldn't you just be a corrupted cop, get a bunch of people under you, and then when they start getting out of line, just suddenly 4 o'clock in the morning.
I would love nothing more. I want a black big SUV and a team who drive through the town looking for people with bounties. And I'm, yep, there he is. Track him down. There'll be some races. I get full whatever I want to do on the not like that, but I can go through red lights. There's no traffic laws. We go right after these guys. If you're a guy in a car waiting and you see a car running by and we're chasing him down, you better get out of the way. It's the bounty hunter tracking this guy down.
What would
So you
your
want to
name be? What would the bounty hunter name be?
Oh, I don't know.
So you know, so you kind of be like Batman.
Now, is that role possible?
I mean, you could roleplay as Batman.
Vigilantism?
It
Absolutely.
would be extremely hard to get the money supply to do that.
Yeah, the trick though is again, if you're being Batman, you are literally a vigilante, and so one role playing cop just to go
Well, basically, I would need to have all
You
the
can
money.
escape from the cops.
Or I
Again,
need to have all the money in the game. And just be able to do it. I got Wayne Tower, I got Wayne Manor.
Oh my god!
It would be very funny if
And I can go
someone
stand
would
up on top of Wayne Tower, look down at the city.
Imagine how good that role play acceptance has to be. That like role playing Dan Batman is on a table with like role playing you and I. We know he's Batman, but in game we don't know he's Batman. Wow, that Batman guy certainly is an enormous a-hole.
And then Dan would have to pretend like he's not Batman.
I don't think we.
I would be very intrigued. I would be very intrigued to try one of these. I would almost try to set one up just for the store. Take one person for all of us to kind of go around and do stuff with.
Oh, see!
I'm gonna try to find the best server for it. I wouldn't mind being on. I don't know if I had the mob thing. I think I would want to. I would want to be a task force that went after people that that have
Make
bounties.
your way up through the
So-
streets again.
Let me, because I'll start making some calls. You would want a bounty hunting role play.
Let's go to bounty hunter role play, mob boss, police officer,
Transportation.
and Batman.
And
I don't think Batman. I don't think they're going with superheroes.
dun dun dun. Ah!
I've seen some people. I saw someone role playing as Keanu Reeves in Cyberpunk, the silver hand guy. He was just exactly like him and talking like his lines and stuff.
Alright, we're just about out of time. Steve, Kyle Larson got a win yesterday. Pretty big for Hendrick Motorsports. 2 wins in a row. I know you and I are ecstatic.
Especially since this is 4th time back in a race car since, like a cup car, since last May, around that time.
No, I'm glad to see him. He's been a contender the last 3 races, so I mean, he really easy could have won last week too, or the week before.
Did you catch the start of the race?
I believe so.
Because I was talking to Steve about this. Man, was he being aggressive at the start. I was watching him. I was being reminded of early days where all 3 of us didn't really have the controls down. And like, I'm passing on it up to him. Like he was sweeping top and lower.
He's known to be an aggressive driver, sometimes too aggressive. And
Like-
he's cost himself, like at 2 weeks ago at the road course in Daytona, he just overthrew the turn. He's in 2nd place, probably had the fastest car, and crashed himself out, and you know, he was just too overly aggressive. Yeah. So,
This is the exact same team that Jimmy Johnson had last year,
Yeah.
and the year before that.
they got a winning team.
Did Jimmy place in anything?
Not the last 2 years.
I was gonna say, good for
the playoffs last 2 years.
good for Kyle Larson and good for the team to get an upgrade.
You know, Kyle Larson, you know, has had a lot to prove, you know, since last year, and I think NASCAR has been based off a lot of drivers overthanking him, and you know, a lot of the fans were I think a lot of people like to see the road that he's been on, and you know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Kyle Larson, and you can find out what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
and he's his road to redemption, and you know, he's out of the sport all of last year and came back, and you know, a lot of people I think are glad to see him back on the road of competing for a title. So, good stuff.
And,
No, go ahead.
I think Tony Stewart hadn't turned him down for the 14th car.
Yep.
Tony Stewart, my favorite. Speaking of NASCAR, NASCAR's been pretty much lately.
Yeah, it's good.
We don't have to jam
Bravo,
up on
yeah.
it anymore to they do it every
The segment is officially on hiatus, as we say around
We're ready
here.
to pull it back out in case you start to stall.
But
Coming.
stalled. No, it was nice last night. We went live and like 5 minutes in, we created a lobby. We had like 20 people right off the bat in for the lobby. And then the second race we're up to 40, and I was just like, wow, you know, all the people that were in the chat wanted their own lobby, and
The Dan fans are pretty funny. I try to incite some ball jokes once in a while in chat, and they won't bite. They're very loyal. I'll whip in the 5-9 or the ball, or Dan stinks, and nothing yet.
he's trying to incite them into violence. They want nothing to do with the ball comments.
But there were a couple that, I mean, Shady Tim with the 5-9.
We're not getting back into the Shady Tim. We know Shady Tim from somewhere. I don't know who it is. By the way, I've confirmed that it's not Tyler Fox.
So it's as we said, you just got a 5-9.
I flat out asked him, and it was not. It's not Tyler Fox.
That's what you think. You probably just like, no.
Anything
like Tyler. I wouldn't be Tim.
anything else before we head out? No, we talked a lot. All these other topics we'll save for next week.
Yeah,
So,
as every week, I'm really glad that we have 4 players. 4 carts can be
Is the
hooked
max?
up is the max to it right now.
we
Everyone
can-
has to have a switch and a cart.
You gotta have 4 switches?
Yep.
Ah!
What's one?
I don't know.
So there's 3. And we have one right now in the store.
Is it switch like?
Yes.
We'll make Johnny bring his in. It's probably in the back anyway. Well, alright, we're gonna head out here. We have the No Look podcast coming up next here at 7 o'clock. Tyler and Austin back in their remote locations. They were in Tampa last week. They're going to be talking everything about All-Star break for NBA. They'll be talking Griffin going to the Nets. UFC had a big weekend. All sports talk. Tyler and Austin, 7 o'clock, No Look podcast.
Make sure to ask them, were they Team LeBron or Team Durant during the All-Star break?
I do want to see their opinion on some of the UFC players.
Yeah, it was it.
Cannot wait to see what they have about the All-Star weekend. It was so cool.
Alright, so they're up next. Monday Night Gaming with Austin after that, 8 o'clock. Hope you guys have a great week. We'll be back here next week behind the counter from Mike, Dave, Steve, and I. Adios. Until next time.